Well, hello there, and welcome to the Daily Voiceover Huddle. My name is Mike Hathcote, and today we got something special. Today is story time. So I'm going to read you a little story out of my book, and it's just one of several that are in there that are interesting little stories about stuff that's happened to me throughout my voiceover career. But before we get into that, once again, welcome. And this is the Daily Voiceover Huddle, where we try to give you a little tidbit of information to help you in your voiceover journey. My name is Mike Hathcote again. I'm a full-time voiceover talent, voiceover career coach, and I've been doing this since way back in the 1900s. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you would, please. We appreciate that. We're trying to march our way to 100,000 subscribers, and hit that notification bell so you get this stuff as quickly as you can. And also chime in on the chat, because in a second we're going to do a little bit of roll call, or not roll call, but shout outs. And just tell me where you're watching from, and we'll get to that here in a few. All right. Gather round, boys and girls. I'm going to read you a story right out of my book. And this is a story about my most challenging directed session. As you all know, in this business, one of the ways that we record is having directed sessions where the client is actually listening live while you record and giving you feedback and direction and that kind of thing. I actually wish every session was directed session, because they take all the guesswork away. You know, in a normal session, most of the sessions that you record it, you send it back. They either love it or they don't. If they don't, they have changes or whatever. They send it back to you. You make the changes, and so it goes. But when you're doing a directed session, the feedback is instant, and as soon as you're done recording and they're happy with it, you hang up, you send them the file, or sometimes they record the file on their end via Source Connect or some sort of software like that, and you're done. Pay me, right? This is a story about a directed session that I had that was my most difficult, but it came out really well. So here we go. Once again, gather around, boys and girls. And instead of just summarizing it, I'm literally going to read it from the book. My most challenging directed recording session. In 2018, I was booked for a video game trailer for an independent post-apocalyptic zombie game called Life After. The end client was based in China. The agency was in Singapore, and the recording engineer was in the US. It was an evening session due to the time zones for everyone involved. The script had been sent to me prior to the directed session, so I was familiar with the text. However, the scratch track, or temporary VO, was in Chinese. They asked if I could listen and match the energy of the scratch track while reading the printed script in English, all while getting the direct feedback from the end client translated from Chinese to somewhat broken English. To say that this particular session was challenging would be a huge understatement. After some time, we were able to get the right tone and pace for the trailer, and the outcome was great. I was cooked, and needless to say, I slept very well that night. You can see that spot on my website at mikehathcote.com. So, as you can imagine, that session fried my brain. But like I said, it came out great, and it's on my website. And what are you going to do? You got to take the good with the bad. But like I said, the final outcome was great. And so I can now use that on my website and all my marketing materials to go out and show clients just a little bit of diversity of things that I do, because normally I would say 75% of my work is more in the e-learning, corporate, longer form reads. And then the rest of it is, commercials and that kind of thing. So to be able to do a video game trailer was pretty fun. And it kind of stretched my comfort zone or got me out of my comfort zone a little bit. And now I have that as just another thing that I can show people that I can do. So don't be afraid to get outside your comfort zone because that is where growth happens. All right. So let's see who's checking in today. Oh, and by the way, I know there was maybe some confusion on the live feed this morning before it started. I had everything ready to go, and then all of a sudden YouTube decided to wipe it out, and then I had to start over again, like, with 2 minutes to go. So, sorry if you got confused and ended up on the other one for a short time. There's Bob from Wadsworth, Ohio. There's Wayne from Port Orchard, Washington, and Sarah from Kentucky. Sean from Longview. There's Ron from Grand Haven, Michigan. I purchased your voiceover blueprint book yesterday. Well, thank you. Well, that's just one of the stories you'll read in there or listen to if you get the audiobook. Callie says, good morning from Pasco. John from Denver. Sandra from Worthington, Ohio. There's Kirk from Greenville, South Carolina. And Ron Miller from rainy Huntington Beach, California. And there's Dennis from Pasadena, California. Andrew from Latvia. There's Mark from Montreal and Sandra from London, Ontario. Jason says, ooh, I love story time. Thank you. Maybe I'll read a few more. There's Jason from, Jason from Kearney, Nebraska. Sorry. Terry from Fallston, Maryland. Do you use Source Connect? Yes, I do. I do use Source Connect. Lots of agents and rosters will require that you have Source Connect, the paid version, not the free version. Source Connect, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a piece of software that connects you to an engineer where they record on their side and you're just in your booth reading. So it's a lossless connection where they actually just get all the recording on their side and you're done. When you're done recording, you hang up and you're done. So yes, I believe it's like $35 a month, but I always say that, I wouldn't go ahead and pull the trigger on it unless you actually have a client or an agency who requires it. Then you can go ahead and do that if you feel like that. But, I wouldn't just go out and sign up for it out of the blue without any kind of necessity for it. But, it's definitely worth having, especially if you're gonna start doing more, upper echelon work because a lot of those sessions do require Source Connect. There's also a newer software out there called Connection Open, I believe, which is a very similar product to Source Connect. I don't have it and I've never used it, but that's another option. There's Sandra from DFW, Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois. Sarah says, purchased your new book bundle yesterday. Haven't finished it yet, but so far, tons of helpful info. Well, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate that. There's Tim in Austin, Texas. Usually watch on the way home from work. Well, I hope you're not watching while you're driving, unless you're on a train or bus or something, but maybe just listen if you're driving. How's that? But wanted to hop on and say you definitely resonated with me yesterday when you talked about working a regular job that you hate. That's me. Yep. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You got to pay the bills, and I get that. But I mean, I've been very lucky to be able to do several things in my life, several careers that I enjoyed doing, whether it was the skateboarding thing and then working in the skateboarding industry, doing voiceover, you know, that old saying, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Big believer in it. Everybody can do something well. Figure out what that is and figure out a way to get paid to do it. And that's why I do voiceover. Jay King, good afternoon, VO fam. Halfway through the book. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Andrew says, finally got it on time. Nice. Joy says, good afternoon from Southfield, Michigan. There's LaDonna from St. Louis. Hope all is well and is acclimated to the daylight savings time by now for those areas that participate in daylight savings time. Yeah, here's the thing. We don't in Arizona. So this huddle is now an hour earlier for me than it was last week. Um, Same time for everybody else that do change clocks. But for me, it's a little earlier. No big deal though. It's 9 a.m. for me, so no big deal. I use this as kind of my warm up now. After I'm done with this, my voice is usually pretty warmed up, so I'm ready to get to work. There's Jim from Memphis and Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. Thanks again for the good story. Thank you, Tracy, and nice to see you on Facebook yesterday too. There's DeCarlos from Vegas. By the way, speaking of DeCarlos, let me brag on DeCarlos for a second. So one of the things we do in the VoiceOver Blueprint private Facebook group is every month we have a what I call a fake audition, and it's literally that. It's an audition where I post a script, I give directions, and have everybody who's in the group post their reads for it, just like a real audition. And at the end, we pick the winner out of all the reads. And what that winner gets is they get a fully produced audio and video spot for that winning read. And so yesterday, DeCarlos was our winner. And there was a really great spot for a suicide hotline. And he gave just a fantastic, heartfelt, very warm and sincere read. And he was the winner. So he got an audio video demo of that one spot. And he can now add that to his website or add it to his demos, whatever. So congrats to DeCarlos on that. And the reason why we do that is because in a normal audition scenario, you never really get to hear your competition and you never really get to hear the winner, who they chose, unless you just hear the spot out in the wild somewhere. So this really gives a lot of good insight because you can hear everybody who submitted, and you can also, and that can kind of jog your brain a little bit and be like, oh, okay. Didn't think about it reading it like that. Maybe that, the person who won, that's, I never thought about that. So it kind of gives you that kind of peek behind the curtain of an audition situation. So we do that once a month in the VoiceOver Blueprint. Good manna morning from the Caribbean. Is it Caribbean or Caribbean? What is apples or tomato, I guess. Banner Sound, thank you for your insight into those bully VO coaches yesterday. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a touchy subject, but I had a lot of really nice comments in the comment section after the video as well. So those of you who took the time to comment on that, I appreciate it. Yeah, there's definitely a couple or maybe even a handful of those bully coaches out there who are kind of that my way or the highway attitude, but got to move past it. Police Commander Z3 from ATL. Reading time with Poppy. Good morning from Utah. Well, it's reading time here, so welcome. Andrew says, congratulations to Carlos. Jason says, oh my God, congratulations to Carlos. You rock. Carlos says, thanks for that. Yeah, dude, you killed it. You knocked it out of the park on that one. Excellent work. Alan says, congrats to Carlos. Sarah says, congrats or yay to Carlos. Jim says Caribbean pronounces either way. Don't sweat it. Yep. Okay. I'll just make sure I mean, I literally go back and forth whenever I read it or say it. I either in my head think of it one way or say it the other way. Who knows? But if they both work, then that's all that matters. All right. I have got a stack of work to get to. Oh, there's Theo from the second floor overlooking the front lawn in lovely Palace Hills. Joyce says, "Is that open for all or only those in the Blueprint program?" It's only for those in the Blueprint program. That's just one of the many benefits of being in the Blueprint. We have a private Facebook group where not only do we do that fake audition thing, but people can post reads and get feedback. I live stream every job that I do in the Facebook group, so you can literally watch me live. You know, just sit in my shoulder and watch everything that I do. I share my screen and I just record. I do my jobs, and you can watch it either live or you can watch the replays, and that's all in the Facebook group. So it's a good time. All right, I'm gonna get to work, guys, but I'll plug the book one more time since I just read from it. The Voiceover Blueprint, link in the description. We've got a bundle package going now where you can get the audiobook, the digital download, and then 4 gifts, the 5 biggest mistakes that voice actors make, beginner voiceover booth on a budget, 4 tips for a more conversational read, and then my steps for direct marketing that both myself and my assistant use for my day-to-day outreach. So that's all included. I believe it's $9.95 for all of that. So check it out in the description. But if you want to go old school and get the hard or the paperback, there's a link down there for that as well. All right, all right. Dennis says, "I missed that program. I might come back." Well, we'd love to have you back, Dennis. Come on back. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get to work once again, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for Q&A Friday. So bring all your questions tomorrow. It's wide open for questions on Fridays. So I will see you then, and break a lip.